We must fight together now, or die. Our enemy doesn't tire. Doesn't stop. They're coming.
Hi everyone, it's Charlie. Surprise, surprise, we got a brand new Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer, so we gotta break it down. It starts off with a little bit of the same footage, they mix in a bunch of new stuff and some new dialogue from Tyrion too. I'm doing Game of Thrones videos all season long and for the prequel show that's gonna premiere next year, so be sure to subscribe to get everything if you're brand new to the channel. There's a new round of the book giveaway too. You start off with the same scene of Jon Snow and Daenerys marching in with the Unsullied Legions and the Dothraki Blood Riders behind them to Winterfell. This is very early in episode 1. Then you get a brand new scene of Tyrion and that voiceover from him addressing all the Northern Lords in the Great Hall at Winterfell. We must fight together now or die. In the background, you can see Daenerys and Sansa both sitting at the head of the table. You can't see Jon Snow, but he'd also be sitting at the table as well. So either they put their differences aside, or they're just affording Daenerys the respect and recognition of someone of her rank. Of course, it seems like Tyrion is trying to calm everyone down. They wouldn't give him a line of dialogue like that unless things were very contentious, because they don't want to trust Daenerys because she's a Targaryen, and most of the Northern Lords did not go north of the Wall to see that white. The Wildlings are some of the only people that totally believe Jon Snow and everything that he said about them. A lot of the lords are actually more worried about what's going on in King's Landing and more focused on the Iron Throne, although it does seem like they're willing to go along with Jon Snow. They're just more focused on the stuff that's happening with the living. They're not so focused on the army of the dead yet.
The king in the north should stay in the north. We did not choose you to rule us, my lady. But perhaps we should have.
The Knights of the Vale came here for you, Lady Stark.
That's why Tyrion is trying to shake some sense of them. Like, look, stop arguing. They're coming. We're all gonna die unless we band together. There's another shot of the little boy climbing up on the rooftop to watch them pass by, just like Bran did during the pilot episode to watch Robert Baratheon's procession march in. There are a lot of people that think that these are Theon's ships, not Euron's, because it's a little hard to distinguish. The biggest difference is that Euron ships are way more heavily armored and there's way more of them. This is another shot of that canyon run with Drogon and Rhaegal just flying, chasing each other through. Like I said, it's implied that Jon Snow is actually riding one of the dragons and they just digitally remove them, or in this footage, they haven't added them yet. They just plucked this from earlier in the process before they finished editing everything. This is a brand new shot of Jon Snow and Daenerys staring moodily at a fireplace. Maybe this is after she finds out about the R plus L equals J of it all. She has that brand new braid too. She looks like she's wearing her new outfit. But as Jon walks away, you can see her just continue staring deep into the fire like she has no idea how to process everything. So it just seems like a big info dump moment where he tells her and she's just completely shook to her core. There's another shot of the dragons flying over Sansa over Winterfell. She looks up as they fly by. Then you get the wide shot. You cut to a shot of Beric Dondarrion with his flaming sword down at Winterfell, so maybe he made it there just in time to let them know that the army is coming, but it seems like they're up at the wall in this other trailer shot up here, so he must make it down to Winterfell really fast by the end of episode 2. The fact that his sword is flaming, though, implies that this is during the battle, so I'm guessing that this shot in particular is from episode 3. This other shot of the Hound 2 that we saw in the last trailer, a little bit brighter, seems like it's also from episode 3 during the big battle because he's freaking out with all this fire around him. This is a shot of Daenerys with her white winter coat in the courtyard in the middle of daytime. It's either episode 1 or episode 2. It seems like she's just walking around getting her bearings, inspecting everything, because by the time we get to episode 2, they'll be full on preparing for the actual assault. There's a brand new shot of the Unsullied Legions forming their phalanx, getting ready for a big attack. This looks like it's after the battle has already begun. Jon Snow taking a giant swipe with Longclaw, also during the battle. This shot of Cersei could be happening during any of the first couple of episodes. It's really hard to place her. She's just in her normal outfit. This shot of Davos, Tyrion, and Varys looks like it's them watching the dragons fly overhead, and I think that this is actually subtle confirmation that Jon Snow is riding one of them, and that's why Varys' jaw is on the ground, because Varys is not surprised by the dragons. He's been around them for a long time now, so watching dragons fly overhead would not be a big surprise for him. One of the few things that would make him freak out like this, seeing them, is as if somebody unexpected was riding one of them, and that person would probably be Jon Snow. What I think they'll probably do, though, is I think they'll try to keep any actual footage of him on Dragonback out of the big trailers before the season starts, because it sounds like it's meant to be this really big payoff because he has Targaryen blood and it's him embracing his heritage. The dragons even purr like big cats when he's nearby. So all this big setup the last couple of seasons seems to imply that he's going to be riding one of these dragons, and obviously it would be Rhaegal, the one that's named after his father. There's another shot of the Unsullied Legions during the big Episode 3 battle during a different point, another shot of Jon Snow also during that battle somewhere else, charging across the field. Same episode, but different footage of Arya than we've seen before on the battlements up at Winterfell. Just part of that really big scene where you see her twirling that pike around, probably has some dragon glass attached to it. Then that same scene of one of the White Walker generals just marching into frame with the rest of the army of the dead behind him. So everybody freak out in the comments about this brand new footage. Do you actually think that this shot here is them watching Jon Snow riding a dragon, and any other big Easter eggs that you think you spotted? But I think the real key new footage here is Jon and Daenerys by this fireside here in this really very serious looking moment. Tyrion in the Great Hall trying to rally everyone to common cause. Then big surprise Beric finally making it down to Winterfell during this big Episode 3 battle. He is really high on my death predictions list. I mean, if they're going to get rid of someone really early in the season, he's already died so many times before. What's one more time? Like, how many times will the Lord of Light bring him back?
How many times has the Lord brought him back?
6.
Con ir sagun kostus taur.
It's implied that there is some kind of limit because when he talks about it to Melisandre, he talks about pieces of him getting chipped away. He barely feels like himself. He's a completely different person with a different personality than he was before he died the first time. This is also a big deal for Jon Snow too, although to a much lesser degree. The producers have said even though we're well past that book moment because he hasn't been brought back in the books yet, that when he does come back, he feels fundamentally different and unsettled, although you don't always get that from Kit Harington in the new Season 7 scenes. During Season 6 after he came back, there were a couple moments where he just felt shook, like what just happened? I don't understand any of this. But by the time we got to the end of that season, he seemed like he had grown comfortable with it, and they just didn't address it that much openly. But there were a couple scenes during Season 7 when they brought it back up. When he first met with Daenerys, Ser Davos said that he literally took a knife in the heart for his men. Daenerys got really curious and almost pushed him on it, but Jon stopped Ser Davos before he started to explain more, because he was ready to spill beans about everything that happened at the Wall. She brought it back up again after he met Drogon, but they were cut off when Ser Jorah walked up, so they haven't officially had that conversation yet. I would be interested to see if they directly address that in a Season 8 scene, where they talk about resurrection in Daenerys' presence, because not all the characters totally understand what happened. Bran, Melisandre, Beric Dondarrion, Samwell, and maybe a couple other people are the only ones that understand what happened to him. There's only 2 more weeks to go before the season starts, so I'm not expecting a ton more footage, maybe a couple more promos like this and some more behind-the-scenes stuff, so whatever ends up happening, I will totally make videos for it. Leave all your video requests in the comments below, or if you have any questions about the footage during this promo. There'll be more Game of Thrones videos posting this week. I'll name a giveaway winner when I post my next one. While you wait for everything, click here for my new preview video from Episode 1 and Episode 2, and click here for all my other Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. We'll see you guys tonight.